Hello friends, this is Worm, and it's Monday, which means it's time for another episode of Exotic Recrafting, the series where we talk about weak, underused, or straight up bad exotics in Destiny 2, talk about how we can change them and make them better. And on the menu for today, we have Crest of Alpha Lupi, and before we talk about this, I want to remind y'all I will be live here on YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We talk about Destiny, we play Destiny, have a lot of fun, and with that plug out of the way, let's talk about Crest of Alpha Lupi. Now, this exotic comes with a perk, Survival Well. Generates an additional orb of power from supers and a healing pulse when barricade is activated. Pretty self-explanatory. You make one more orb of power, so Ward of Dawn goes from 3 to 4. One-off supers like Thunder Crash go from 5 to 6, and of course roaming supers will go from 7 to 8 orbs of power. And then when you activate your barricade, or your thruster for that matter, it says barricade, but it's both barricade and thruster, you will grant any allies that are within 12 meters of you 75 HP. And I think with barricade it's a little bit less. I think with barricade it's like 60. Not barricade, with thruster it's like 60 HP. Overall, this is obviously a support-based exotics, but I never see anybody use it, and I use it myself, and it's not very good. So we'll go ahead and talk about why, and some of the changes that we can make, starting off with stat bumps, which normally I wouldn't do with exotic armor, but I do have a case to be made with this one. Then we'll talk about some minor changes that they can do, and then of course finally we'll round out by talking about a full rework that we could do to Crest of Alpha Lupi to make it better. But obviously, when it comes to why this exotic is not very good, it's just a weak support exotic. You know, we don't get barricades up that often. Like if you're running solar, you know, you have on Ember of, what is it, Ash? I can't remember which one it is, but the one that gives you more barricade energy or more class ability energy when you scorch targets. You could build into that. You can build into class abilities, but at the same time, it's not really doing much for you. It's doing more for your teammate because of the orbs of power that you can make, but still, like one additional orb of power doesn't really make it worth using in my opinion. Now, starting off with a stat bump, every single exotic armor piece in Destiny 2 can roll with a potential maximum of 71 stat points. I think Crest of Alpha Lupi should be the one exception to this rule. I think that it should be able to roll with up to 75 total stat points. Why? Because it's, first of all, it's a D1 classic. Like, this is just like the staple. This is the epitome of like Titan-ness. You know, it's a support thing as well, support exotic as well. So we might as well just throw in 4 extra stat points that could be distributed randomly throughout the thing. But with the stat bumps out of the way, I want to talk about some minor changes that we can make to the exotic, starting off with synergies. For some reason, Crest of Alpha Lupi does not synergize with Ember of Benevolence on solar. I don't know why. I don't know if this was intentional or if maybe it was just overlooked, but the first thing I would do is change that so that whenever you activate your barricade and you heal allies, it will also activate Ember of Benevolence if you have Ember of Benevolence equipped. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The other thing I would do is actually with the orbs of power, increase the number of orbs of power we can generate from +1 to +3. And this one is a little bit like kind of questionable because the orbs that you create when you're in super are not little bitty orbs that you get from like double kills with weapons. These are really powerful orbs. They give you like 7 or 8% of your super per orb. So currently, let's say it's 7% times 7 orbs. That's about 50% super energy. If you upped it to 3 plus 3, so you make basically a total of 10 orbs of power throughout your super, if you get enough kills, of course, that would be potentially 70 to like 80% of your super, or your allies' super, could be obtained. I think that's a lot, but at the same time, we get supers back really fast anyways. I don't think it would make that much of a difference. I think it would just, again, it would be a really special buff, because now it's like, hey, this is the only exotic where you can actually make more orbs of power for your teammates. So increasing the amount of orbs created from +1 up to +3 would be a pretty decent change. And then the last change I see, minor change that I can see being added to Crest of Alpha Lupi, just grant armor charge to you and nearby allies when you cast a barricade. Again, it's the support functionality of the exotic. Whenever you pop your barricade, it just gives everybody around you 1 stack of armor charge. I would even argue gives your allies 3 stacks of armor charge and gives you just 1 stack. Obviously, you wouldn't want to give yourself 3 stacks because then you could pair it with utility kickstart and just have barricades for days. But I think that would be a nice addition to the weapon as well. I know a lot of people use armor charge mods, you know, and so just giving them free armor charge, I think would add into the support aspect of this exotic. But with those minor changes out of the way, I want to talk about a full rework idea that I have, and that is building into the idea of being a support healer who has a survival well behind you. Whenever I hear the term survival well, I immediately think of Well of Radiance, obviously. So I kind of went off of that, and we're going to do some class shifts here. So the idea for a full rework that I had is when you cast your barricade, it creates a healing rift behind your barricade. So when you cast your rally barricade, for example, it will pop a rally barricade up, but anybody who's behind that rally barricade will basically be in a healing rift and will heal over time. I don't know why it isn't like that currently. That just, to me, again, that just makes so much sense. But I feel like that would make this a really fun exotic, and it would open up a ton of new play styles. You know, the barricade is something that you really want to stand behind. Obviously, for the longest time we haven't had that in the game, and then recently we got Storm's Keep specifically. So now players are standing behind barricades more, which is really nice. This could be one of those things that could get players to stand behind barricades and utilize barricades to their maximum potential. So yeah, just, you know, giving the ability to pop a healing rift behind your barricade. Now I think there is some argument to be made about balance, because barricades last like 18 to 20 seconds, something like that. But I think a balancing factor you could actually have for the Crest of Alpha Lupi is whenever you cast a barricade, instead of lasting that 18 or 19 or 20 seconds, however long it is, it only lasts 12 seconds or 14 seconds, however long a standard healing rift would last. So you can't just, you know, infinitely, I guess you could technically, if you wanted to, you could infinitely spam them together. But it would be balanced out by the fact that it's not just going to be this 20-second long, healing rift that you can stand behind and outclass the Warlock's class ability. Like, it's still something that's, you know, only lasts a certain amount of time, and maybe you could potentially add like an increase to the overall time it actually takes to obtain your barricade back. Again, you know, this is something that they have on Bastion, which Bastion's too long, but this isn't about Bastion. You know, you pop a Bastion barricade down, it takes a long time to get that barricade back. Maybe do something similar for Crest of Alpha Lupi, so that you can't just get it back basically instantly, so that it also encourages users to play on that solar, you know, with Ember of Benevolence, and get their class ability back faster. I think that would be a really nice idea. And you could throw in one more little addition to this, and that's that the barricade charges faster when allies are nearby, similar to the Vesper of Radius, which is a Warlock exotic chess piece that allows your barricade to come, or your rift to come back faster when you're surrounded by enemies. Have something similar to that, except for it's your allies. When your allies are nearby, your barricade recharges faster. But those are my ideas for Crest of Alpha Lupi. I think that it really needs a rework. This is like a staple of Destiny, and it's a shame to see this in such a bad state. Hopefully we'll see a rework to it soon, but let me know your thoughts on my ideas here. How do you feel about, you know, a healing rift on Titan? Obviously, I know that's gonna cause for some concern, just because it's class hopping. You know, now Titans can do what Warlocks can do, blah blah blah. And Bungie doesn't like that either, but still, I think it would be a nice addition that would just make sense. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, if you like this video, do me a favor, drop a like. It helps channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, conversations, debates, discussions, all that good stuff. And do me one more favor, watch the videos you see here on the end screen, because for whatever reason YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.